Hi friends, it's Lauren. Thanks for joining me in my craft room. I'm grateful to have you here. It's the 20th of the month, which means it's time for an Oh So Inspired collaboration hop. And this year we are being inspired by each other on the collaboration team. This month we are featuring Carmen with Choose Joy with Carmen on Instagram as well as here on YouTube. So I went looking through her Instagram and I found a card that I really liked the colors and overall the layout. So I'm going to be using both of those things to create my card today. Before I walk you through the supplies that I'm going to be using today, just want to remind you that this is a collaboration hop and you can find the link to watch the collaboration playlist down below in my description box, and it will also be an end card at the end of this video. The supplies that I'm going to be using are all from, well, mostly all from Emily Moore Designs. I am going to grab some cardstock and inks from my stash. I have the Just Wanted to Say stamp set, the Hi, Hey, Hello small style dies. I'm going to be using some different shapes from the Card Sentiment dies, Decorative Sentiment dies, and the Doily Shaker Frame die. I also have two different stencils. I'm going to use the Confetti layered stencils as well as the Rainbows layered stencils. And we're going to start with stenciling. So I have some white cardstock and it is 5.5 by 8.25. So I'm going to go ahead and cut that in half. So I have two A2 sizes to stencil, and then I'm going to die cut and trim these later on in the video. So now that I have my papers ready, I'm going to start with the Rainbows Layered Stencil Set. I'm going to get out a grip mat that I have from scrapbook.com and just add that to the center of my glass board. It sticks nicely to the glass surface, and then I can place my cardstock on top of that. And I'm going to start with the first layer, which is the largest of the rainbow layers. And I'm going through my Pinkfresh Studio inks, and I'm going to use Raspberry Bliss as my pink color, Persimmon as my orange color, and then I thought Mango Sorbet would be a good kind of middle of the road color between the two. So I'm going to start with the pink Raspberry Bliss and use my blending buddies here to add that color. Then I'll replace the stencil with my second layer, and I'm going to use that Mango Sorbet. And then finally I have the third layer, which is the persimmon color. And that will finish off the kind of warm toned pinky orangey colors of my rainbows. We'll do a fun stencil reveal here, and then I'm going to clean up my mat and I will peel off this pattern paper that we've created and set that aside, and I will start the next layered stencil. So I have my second piece of white cardstock, and I'm going to do the first layer in that pink again, Raspberry Bliss, and then I'm going to do the second layer, which is more of the square rectangular confetti in the persimmon and the more stringy confetti in the Mango Sorbet. Go ahead and clean up after myself again here, and we'll do our last stencil reveal of our beautiful confetti. I love that it's a little bit lighter, so it's not such a busy background as my rainbow, and that's going to be more of the focal point for my card today. So I've got lots of dies here, and I'm going to start with using the the stitched rectangle from the Card Sentiment dies to cut out my rainbow cardstock. I'm going to use the larger of these detailed scallop rectangles, and I'm going to use that with my pink cardstock. No, I'm going to use my orange cardstock. At first I was going to use pink, but then as I was editing, I remembered that I switched and I'm going to do orange. So I'm going to layer that orange right on top of the rainbow, and I know it covers up a lot. I get those comments a lot of, you covered up your background, but I just want it to be, the pattern paper that's peeking out the edges, inspired by Carmen's card. So then I'm going to grab the center oval from the Doily shaker frame, and I'm playing around with my dies trying to see which banner I was going to use to cut out some vellum, which is also inspired by Carmen's card. So I'll cut the oval out of that pink cardstock, and then I trimmed an A2 piece because that's going to be my card front, and I'm going to go ahead and glue down my rainbow stenciled pattern paper right to the center of that pink cardstock. Once that's in place, we're going to work on layering the confetti onto the orange piece. So I'm going to grab a pencil, and instead of measuring with a ruler, I'm just going to make little notches, not notches, but little marks with my pencil where I want to cut it, so that way it looks even when it's in the center of this orange detailed die cut. So I'm taking my paper trimmer and I'm lining up to where I made those little pencil marks and trimming my paper down. I did draw them on the back of the paper, so in case I don't cut it, completely, I don't have a pencil mark showing on the front. I'll go ahead and get that glued to the center of this orange piece of cardstock, and that will, create my next layer. Again, mimicking Carmen's card with the orange center, and I will have that pattern, and that will be in the center of my card front. I'm going to do a bit more die cutting, but I'm going to do a lot of it off camera because this is a hop and I don't want to keep you here too long, but I will walk you through what I've die cut. I'm going to take the word hello and the shadow die I'm going to cut out of some extra of the confetti pattern paper that I created. And then I die cut the word hello from the same pink cardstock that I used for my card. I die cut one of the banners from, or like a sentiment banner from the card sentiment dies, and I'm stamping "You Are Awesome" from the Just Wanted to Say stamp set in the same Raspberry Bliss pink ink. So now we're going to glue the orange cardstock with our confetti pattern in the middle to the center of our card front. I also die cut one of the banners from the Decorative Sentiment dies out of vellum, and I'm going to cut that in half because it's not quite long enough, or not quite long as I want, to peek out from the sides of that oval. So I'm going to layer those on the left and right behind the pink oval. I didn't really like the first time I did it. It felt a little long, so I'm going to peel them off and then move them a little closer to each other on the back. I'm trying to make sure they look even and straight when compared to each other on each side. And then I will go ahead and layer my sentiments onto this. So I'm going to layer the word hello onto its shadow. I'm going to use some tweezers to hold that while I add my liquid glue with a fine tip to the back of the word. And then just like my friend Sarah Liz, I'm going to tap off the glue on my hand and then immediately wipe my hand on my shorts. And then I will add the word hello to that shadow. And then I'm going to glue the "You Are Awesome" strip first, just so I have a grounding point for my word hello, and also lets me, know my spacing I have when I get that ready. So I'm going to add glue to that banner and glue that right to the oval. And then after that, I will glue on the hello. I did keep this card all like, I guess it's not one layer because there's a lot of layers here, but I didn't use any foam dimension, which I think is pretty surprising for me. But looking at Carmen's card, it does look, very just glued together. There's not a lot of dimension, which is really nice for mailing cards. You don't have to put that extra ounce stamp set when you have that thick foam adhesive. But I do like that there still is a lot of dimension with all of the layering that's going on this card. I added glue just to the back of the oval. I didn't add any glue behind the vellum because I didn't want it to show through. And I'm going to go ahead and use my strong magnet to make sure that stays in place while I make a card base. I'm going to add glue to the back of my card front and get that onto my card base, and that will finish off today's card. We'll take one more final look here just so we can admire the pink and oranges of this card. Thank you to Carmen for being such an amazing inspiration and fellow crafter to hop with for the Oh So Inspired collaboration. I hope you'll check out what everyone else did as they were inspired by Carmen by using that playlist link down below or here at the end of my video. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you'll click like, and if you're new here, I hope you'll subscribe and come back. As always, you can find everything I use down below in the description box. Thank you and have a wonderful day. Bye!